Hi, I'm Patu from freefincal. Today let's talk about PPF or ELSS mutual funds. Which should I use for saving tax? Which would give me more returns? More and more people are recognizing that mutual funds are not going to give them the returns that they expected, are going to give them the returns that they were told by advisors that they would get. Just before making this video, I was looking at my spam folder. I'm glad it went into spam. Someone said this is a no-brainer. PPF will give 8%, ELSS will give 12 to 14%. I'm afraid both of them are not true now. Anyway, that's the problem. Still, there are a lot of delusions that equity will always beat PPF and so on. It depends on when you look at it. The point is that whether EPF or I should say whether equity beats CPF or not, what matters is how you invest for your goals and how you manage your financial financial goals, the risk in your portfolio. If you are able to manage it, no matter what, you should be able to handle your goals. For example, I had talked about my net portfolio return on March 23rd, 2020. It was 2.75% after 12 years. Now, when I am checking it, that 2.75% has zoomed to 9.5%. That's a big jump today, as of yesterday's now, I should say. So, that's how it's going to be. Equity returns are always going to fluctuate, move up and down. That doesn't mean you're not going to make money. You will not make money if you are stupid enough and just keep on doing an SIP blindly and not invest enough. The other mistake people do is they do some 500 rupee SIP and 1000 rupee SIP and assume that is enough. That's not going to, you cannot compensate your inability to invest more by higher return. That is just not going to happen. It can happen on an Excel sheet, but not in real life. All right, with all that kind of forward that's taken me, I wanted to say something else, but I got distracted by it, by what I saw on Twitter, and I just tweeted something on Twitter. Now I saw that email, so I got distracted. Anyway, let's get back on track. So this is a question that a young earner is going to face, and they are asking the wrong question, and they should not be asking which would give me more returns. They should be asking which is more risky. Should putting all my money in PPF, EPF, VPF, is that more risky, or putting all my money in equity mutual funds, is that more risky? Both of them are risky in different ways. One will you will lose most of the money suddenly if there's a big crash in the case of equity. In the other case, that gradually returns are falling down, and it will not beat inflation. Of course, please recognize interest rates are cyclic. The PPF or the small saving rates are linked to the long term small saving schemes are linked to the 10-year gilt, and therefore, if because of inflation already it has started moving up, because of increasing inflation, interest rates of PPF are likely to go up soon, but then over a long period of time it will gradually go down, and it will be fluctuating, cyclic, but it will go down. But that's something that regulars know. Of course, a video like this is meant for young earners, but what I have been always saying is look in terms of asset allocation. When you look at it in terms of asset allocation, where you invest should become automatically clear, and I will give you 2 examples for that. And you have to learn. Oh, before that, yeah, I wanted to say this. So I'm writing this article because I saw an expert give advice in a newspaper saying that they should completely switch from PPF to equity mutual funds, because equity mutual funds will give 12% on average. This is the expert advice. You know why they are giving that advice? The distributors can only think like that it's obvious. So it's such kind of advice is ridden with conflict of interest. Financial journalists have they don't even know who who to ask expert opinion from. They will go and ask an AMC CEO whether alpha can be produced in the market or not. What else will an AMC CEO say? He has to say alpha will be produced, put all your money in my funds. What else will he say? It's silly, but that's how journalists are. It's better not to Anyway, I am also calling freefincal as a newspaper, so that makes me one. So anyway, we have to be a lot more responsible than this. See, we have to think in terms of asset allocation, and the problem with mutual fund distributors, they never do that, or they always are too over enthusiastic about equity. They will say 70% equity, 80% equity, they'll say 12% equity, 12% return, 50% return. The truth is, like I talked about earlier, if you tell the truth about mutual funds, nobody will buy. This is the simple fact, but that's how it is. If you want to sell, you have to embellish. And anyway, so you have to take all these advices that you get on newspapers with a big rock of salt. Anyway, so it's instead of asking which will give more returns, I've always been saying, ask which will be more risky and think in terms of asset allocation. I've talked about that numerous times. A young earner should take on as much risk as possible when they are young. As much risk as possible means that equity portfolio should be at least 50 to 60% of equity should be there in their portfolio. They will have the time to handle that risk emotionally and also technically also handle that risk associated. They will have the time available with them. There is really no other choice than this. The problem is if you delay and if you start putting all your money in PPF for the first few years, it will be a very, very difficult job to reset your asset allocation. See, for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, my equity investment was much lower than my NPS, maybe slightly more than that. Even today, my equity allocation for retirement is only 58%. I have never seen it gone above 60%. But I did my child's education a little better. Today it's 62%. It has always been hovering 58 to 60% or so, something like that. But I started right there. If you delay your investments and put most of your money initially into debt, always there will be a debt heavy portfolio. It will be extremely difficult for you to convert that into at least an equal debt, equal fixed income kind of portfolio. It will take years and years. Maybe it will not even be possible. That is why young earners should be very, very careful about where they invest and not say everything is safe, PPF, EPF is safe, and avoid equity or think only in terms of saving tax. So let's get to this two examples and how to allocate it and so on. So let's say that, look, for 1.5 lakh ATC, you have to invest minimum 12,500 a month. That 12,500 a month is including the mandatory EPF deduction. That is the employee deduction. The employer deduction is not part of ATC. We will leave that alone for the tax saving. But for asset allocation, it has to be taken into account. So let's say 8,000 is the total investment that a person can make, including the employee contribution to EPF. You will assume that 4,000 goes to the EPF via the employee contribution. Rest can be invested into an ELSS fund. So that will as 8,000 only can be invested. So ATC saving benefit cannot be maximized because the person can only do that much. So you put 4,000 anyway goes to EPF. You put 4,000 in ELSS fund. PPF is not necessary. This way, if you look at the asset allocation, for calculating asset allocation, the employer contribution to the EPF should also be included. When you do that, you will get 56% in EPF. Rest of it is in equity, which is very, very good. With future salary increases and so on, it can easily be pushed up to 50% equity and 50% fixed income, in this case EPF and so on. Then as another example, suppose a person can invest 25,000 a month. Then you say out of this 25,000, EPF is 8,000 rupees for the employee contribution. Now there is a balance of 17,500. If you take 4,500 out of this and put it into EPF or PPF, wherever, then your ATC will be taken care of. You don't need ELSS funds. So you're taken care of your ATC benefit without any ELSS funds. Remaining 12,500, you put it into a Nifty or Sensex index fund, whatever, or any other fund, or however way you want. You don't need it. It does not have to be a ELSS fund. That's my point. So the moment you look at it from an asset allocation angle, things can become much more clearer for you, and you can also project. I want you to do this. This changed my life. Project your future investments. Find out how much will you be able to invest year after year after year after year. Of course, you will say salaries are uncertain and all that, but that's fine. Take into account all that uncertainty in some manner and project your future investments and see how well you're able to stick to it. Your life will change. That happened to me. I still have those records for the last 10 years, 11 years I've been doing that. So please do that, and always think in terms of asset allocation, think in terms of risk. Please recognize how will you differentiate between PPF and equity. How would you say that these two are different asset classes? You don't say that in terms of returns, because a PPF may give you 7-8%, something like that, but ELSS can give you, or any equity mutual fund can give you, sometimes it can give you 5%, sometimes it can give you -5%, sometimes it can give you 15-20%. Depends on which side of the bed you wake up or when you decide to do the analysis. So you do not categorize asset classes based on returns. You categorize asset classes based on risk. So instead of asking how much return will I get, you must ask how much risk is there in investing. Then you will be able to categorize, then you will be able to think in terms of asset allocation. Then the answers will become relatively much more easier. Bye-bye.